Welcome to the 15th Floor, a Radiohead reaction podcast where a Gen X father tries to convince his Gen Z son that Radiohead is the greatest band of all time by having him react to Radiohead songs one track at a time. He reacts for the first time, and I react for the millionth time and get to talk about why I think Radiohead is the greatest band of all time. And I'm not going to do that again because I said Radiohead at the end.
Yep.
Yeah. You've got a haircut. Look at this. Party in the front, business in back. That's the reverse mullet.
Yep.
Is that a thing? Reverse mullet?
I don't know.
I should look that up because that's important. We're getting a lot of... another person just brought it up again. We get Arctic Monkeys has come up a few times. Don't know anything about Arctic Monkeys. If you know Arctic Monkeys and you think we should react to an Arctic Monkeys song, suggest an Arctic Monkeys song that you think a Radiohead fan and an Imagine Dragons fan will react well to. Today we are going back to 1997. We're going old school Radiohead from the greatest album probably in their library. Oh, that's so tough to say. I think generally accepted greatest Radiohead album, OK Computer. Pretty flawless. We're doing the oft smirked at Electioneering. Electioneering is a rocking album, track from that album. And it breaks, to me, it comes after Fitter Happier. And I think Fitter Happier breaks the album up into two separate parts. And this is the beginning of Act 2. And the most direct song from OK Computer as far as the message goes. Tom York frustrated with the Labour Party under Tony Blair. Boy, it seems like we're doing a lot of political stuff lately, but can't miss it. Electioneering was a standout track. They played it on their little late night tour as they were promoting the album. People already knew Electioneering from live performances, like a lot of Radiohead songs. It was already out in the Radiohead zeitgeist, but it sounded a little differently. Than the final version, the final product. That's a very classic Radiohead thing. Something that kind of stays as a live track, and people and the fans anticipate it and are ready for it, and then it comes out and it is not exactly what we remember. But I do like the studio version of Electioneering. I know a lot of people like the much different ending of the live Electioneering tracks. You can look those up from 1996, anytime prior to OK Computer, which was 1997. Do you know anything about Electioneering? What do you... OK Computer, that had, Paranoid Android, it had Karma Police, it had... What have we already done from that? Oh, Let Down. Electioneering was requested by Melchior Aksak, It Me, EM, and Hi, or HI. And I'm sure that some of those people are the same people with different names. Let's get right into it, shall we? Mm-hmm. Electioneering from 1997's OK Computer. Go.
This is definitely a political song.
Yes.
just the way it's played. Something that stands out in political songs are the drums. And the drums, like, I feel like just Maybe it's just me thinking like upbeat was just anything political. You want to grab people's attention and stuff like that. I feel like drums grabs people's attention really well because it's loud, it's empowering, and just Mm-hmm. And those drums are nothing special. They just stand out for some reason. They're just. I feel like they're not doing anything unique with them. They're just.
But you're saying in songs with a message, particularly a political message, there is a specific desire for the percussionist to grab your attention.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think I know what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And you pointed out that I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. That's great to have the cowbell on there. This was before the cowbell skit from SNL.
Back when SNL was good. It's just business. Catapult the trust I can not the biggest fan of just random instrument, like random stuff at the end. Like that last minute was just a bunch, like a guitar solo, and just that last part. Like I just didn't feel like we needed a minute.
The outro.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They just never kind of stood out to me at all. They never really interested me. And
that one's got a long. This has a verse chorus A B A B. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no bridge. There's no return to the chorus. It's actually just a return to the hard driving guitar part, which Johnny Greenwood does bring home. If you watch a live version, Johnny Greenwood will play that syncopated, very out of rhythm, very isolated and alone. And he thrives in that space. It's when he gets really low, hunched over his guitar. I know he does that a lot, but it's a very solo effort, and that blends in beautifully with the rest of the music. But he also maybe gets bored with a simple outro, and so he makes it interesting when he can. The original version, or the old live versions of Electioneering, have Tom singing at a much more snake-like hiss, and it's a little dramatic. I think the message is better without the drama, and he's got great vocals in this. Tom imagines a politician or maybe even a preacher in front of a bay of microphones, kind of pounding the podium and rousing the crowd. So many great lines in that. Voodoo Economics, cattle prods, the IMF. He was he talks a lot about the inspiration from this song being just a lot of handshaking, talking to people, meeting people, and you just get so tired you feel like you're a politician when you're just meeting people, shaking hands. And he came up with this phrase, "I trust I can rely on your vote," that he'd say to people, and they would give him kind of an awkward look, but it would kind of entertain him. Someone from England, from the UK, who is a regular watcher and commenter, pointed out that Tony Blair technically should align politically as a Labour Party member with at least some of the things that Tom York believes. But anytime someone's elected who you feel represents you inwardly but doesn't help outwardly or doesn't do what they promised outwardly, that can be even more frustrating than just having somebody up there that just completely disagrees with you.
Even though I don't like those types of outros, it's at the end, so I can just just skip it and whatnot, so it's not really affecting the song. It was good. It was nice, upbeat. I'm used to a different type of music, and so it is really hard for me to go back a few decades. And I know that some people in the 90s, they felt the same way for their stuff as I did with my stuff. They grew up with Radiohead and like stuff like, I can't say the Beatles, everyone likes the Beatles, but just stuff from like the 60s and 70s might not entertain them as much because it's not what they grew up with. Maybe it's just this song specifically, but I feel like it was hard to... I felt like if I just grew up with this time, I would have thought this was a great song. But just since I'm used to the other stuff, it's just not as good as I wanted it to be. It's still a good song. I'll give it a 7. I still think it's a good song.
That's all right. You can be wrong. That's fine. It's fine to be wrong. That's part of learning and growing. Actually, I would say that Electioneering, even though it was a song that Radiohead fans were familiar with back in the old days of the internet, when you could only get little snippets from the dark corners of the web before you could just go to YouTube and listen to a song, little parts of this were talked about, and Electioneering was not an immediate accepted hit from OK Computer. As much as I say that they played it a lot on their initial late night gig tour, it was not terribly well received, and it's actually a little bit divisive with fans, whereas the rest of the album is a little bit less so. I've never thought of Electioneering as anything but just a good smash, just a good hit. I mean, they start fun. It's easily one of their hardest rocking songs of the album, of their library, and there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe nothing that really jumps out with you. Now it's been a part of my life for so long that to me every line is so brilliantly thought out. Every line is so brilliantly sung. I think of the quality of Tom's voice in this as a snarky politician who is buying votes with his charm in a gross way. And I think of Johnny Greenwood, who I completely admire as a musician, wrapping his hands around a guitar and just doing different things with it. Do I think it's part of what makes them great? Of course. But I can understand for a first listen, Electioneering is just a pretty good song. It's way better than pretty good. They'll come around. All right, let's see what the little kids said. This is Little Boys. It says, "Faster, Chester." He said that's the kid's name, and this guy is Chester over here. And I'm not sure. I think he's the one who is voting, because the guy in the middle says, "Vote for me," and the other guy says, "Don't vote for him," or "Don't vote him." Just trying to buy the vote of Chester. Isn't that what we're all trying to do, though, in the end? Just trying to buy Chester's vote. Chester is the everyman, you know?
Of course.
And then her drawing says, "Can we trust you?" A lot of voters there. "Maybe. Vote for me, please." And there's something, look at those eyes. There's something in her eyes that tells you, you've got the blonde hair, you've got the appearance, but your eyes are not trustworthy. I don't know if that's what she was going for, but that's what I see in that image. And look at the voters. They're just faceless nobodies. They are just stick people. They couldn't be less interesting or interested. They are just, to the blonde girl with the weird eyes, votes.
Yep.
And she trusts that she can rely on them, on those votes. Electioneering, if you haven't already gotten into it, check it out. It's part of a great album. OK Computer is a beautiful album that everybody, whether you know you're a Radiohead fan or not, should be aware of, because you will be asked at your bar trivia night, Jeopardy, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or on your deathbed by your grandchildren, what is one of the greatest albums of all time, and clearly the greatest album of the 90s, and the answer will be OK Computer, and you'll need to know that. So service, helping people out.
Yep.
We had a comment. So we did the last video we did was you and Whose Army. Evan K said the effects on the vocals, instruments on Amnesiac drew me in the first time I heard them, and this song is a great example of that. I would love if you both reacted to either Where the Streets Have No Name by U2 or The Resistance by Muse. Thank you. I chose this because yes, Amnesiac is one of the albums that first and foremost presents Tom's vocals as an instrument. I know vocals are always an instrument, but as a less than human instrument in the case of Amnesiac. But I chose this because I did want to address, we have had a couple of requests for U2 songs, maybe even by this same person. I will tell you that that's a great recommendation because it's exactly what we're asking for. What bands do we need to hear and react to? However, U2 is, of course, mostly 80s and 90s, and I know everything 80s and 90s U2. I grew up with U2, so I would not be reacting for the first time. Where the Streets Have No Name is the lead track from Joshua Tree and is a very, very Joshua Tree song, and most people would say that is U2 at their U2iest. Before they get a little loopy. But that's a great album. And Where the Streets Have No Name is a great song with great vocals. A lot of people have made the comparison of Tom York to Bono just in the wailing cry. And I'm glad that Tom York has done much to dismantle such rumors and such thought. Because he has risen well above that level. Nothing against Bono, nothing against U2. I absolutely would have claimed myself as a U2 fan when I was younger, and still, sure. But I think Tom York far exceeds Radiohead far exceeds U2 as musicians. So that wouldn't be a first time reaction. Have you heard Where the Streets Have No Name?
Maybe. I remember. Maybe.
It's one of those songs that at some point it came up on the Zune. Is that what that thing was called? The Microsoft Zune that I had? I had a Zune. I'm here to tell you, the Zune was superior to the iPod. Microsoft failed in its presentation, but the actual product was far superior. The ability to find stuff, the appearance of it, it was so user-friendly. Oh, it was a far superior product. And I still have mine. The battery is now long dead, but it's a relic. If you want to buy an old Zune, contact me. But and then The Resistance by Muse, that's not the one we did. We did Uprising. So those sound a little bit the same. No, we'll probably get to more Muse stuff later in the summer. There's a lot of requests for other music. When we get back to Muse, we'll ask everybody to give us their opinion on what Muse song we should go to next. We did the Uprising. We both liked it. And that seemed to make the Muse people mad. But I wanted to address that because the U2 song would not be a first time. I was when Rattle and Hum came out. That was my jam while I was skiing. I used to do a lot of skiing, snow skiing, and that was one of the things I listened to a lot when Rattle and Hum first came out. So those songs remind me of skiing. Classic. People always talk about what a song reminds them of. And Electioneering reminds me of driving down to California with my best friend in 1997. It was after high school, and this album had first come out, and we were just rolling down the windows in my Ford Tempo with no AC, and rocking out to OK Computer most of the time. It was a brand new album at the time. Thank you for the comments. I love comments like that. Just people suggesting or talking a little bit about why Amnesiac or any album meant something or any song means something to them. Somebody else said You and Whose Army, they'd listen to it every time they got off shift as a waiter, and I think that's so perfect. That's exactly why music is so good, because you connect with it, not just, oh, that sounds good, but with moments of your life. And I think that's a really big deal, which is why I think everyone who truly loves music has those types of connections, finds a place in their brain, whether it's a memory, something in their limbic system where they can associate a smell. Is this getting out of control?
Yes.
Yeah, give us your suggestions for more cowbell and more, for more
stuff.
what's the stuff? Imagine Dragons. For Radiohead, of course, we're always keeping tab. We'll keep plugging away at the Radiohead for sure. The Smile is coming, and so are more viewer requests. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification button. Make a comment. We just love to hear from people. Everyone says such great things. It's a real positive channel, so we really appreciate that. And we appreciate your love of Radiohead and your support of a small channel like ours. Continue to love one another. Keep listening to music together. You're now leaving
The 15th floor.